The Knicks are showing interest in a former NBA champion, but unfortunately, it's another guard. According to reports, the Knicks have contacted the Toronto Raptors about a potential deal for Bruce Brown. We're going to break down all of these latest reports and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now and make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. The Knicks contacted the Raptors about a potential deal for Bruce Brown. I'm not sure why the Knicks are obsessed with trying to go after more guards, but it seems like each and every time another report comes out, it seems to link the Knicks to another guard. Before, it was Marcus Smart, and now the reports are indicating it's Bruce Brown. Let's break down the latest from Jacoba Reynolds from Sports Illustrated. According to Reynolds, who's an NBA insider with Sports Illustrated, they gave us the following update. According to them, the Dallas Mavericks and the New York Knicks have both inquired about Bruce Brown. Dallas contacted the Raptors and made an offer for Brown, but it was rejected. No details have come out yet on exactly what that offer was, but the fact that these two teams are going after him makes you understand that they're looking for another piece that they can add to their championship rosters, because both the Dallas Mavericks and the New York Knicks are definitely teams to watch come the postseason. I understand that Bruce Brown is a former champion with the Denver Nuggets. I understand what his role was, and I also understand he could be beneficial to any contender that he goes to. I also believe he said a lot of favorable things about Tom Thibodeau, so I think that relationship would be good as well too. Here's the problem, on top of so many problems, but here's the first one. We have a player on our roster named Josh Hart, and Bruce Brown is almost an exact copy of who Josh Hart is. But here's the kicker. He's a free agent in 2025, and he's making around $22 million this year. And if he comes to the Knicks, he likely comes off of our bench. Maybe Josh Hart continues to start. And if that happens, can we justify paying somebody $22 million to come off of our bench? I know I can't. And even though he would probably thrive with this Knicks team, thrive under head coach Tom Thibodeau, especially his defense, I think Thibs can get the best play out of Brown. The problem is, I am not going to be trading again with the Toronto Raptors. Can you imagine trying to make a trade like that work? First of all, you have to make the money work, number one. Then you have to convince Masai that it's a good deal to even do. And the only trade assets right now that the Knicks potentially are willing to give up are Mitchell Robinson and Deuce McBride. And I'm sorry, all due respect to Brown, I am not giving up Deuce and Mitchell Robinson just to get a year rental of Brown. There is no guarantee he would stay with this team. And even if he did, how much are you going to pay him to stay on this roster? He's making $22 million now. What is he going to want for his next contract? He's definitely going to take less, but how much less? I am not going to want to be the Knicks in that situation, having to worry about paying somebody else. We do not need to be in that situation. I think the Knicks, if they are interested or even have shown interest and actually made that offer, the only reason I can see them doing that is to put pressure on another team they really want to trade for. The only thing is they're looking at another guard, small forward. He's 6'4", ladies and gentlemen. Bruce Brown, to me, is a guard. But either way, if they're looking at another guard and putting pressure on a team, that means they're likely putting pressure on a team that has a guard that they want. And the only other report that we saw come out about another guard is Marcus Smart. And he makes a ton of money as well, too. And if you want to get him on the roster, it's about the exact same trade package that you'd have to give up for Brown. Likely Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, and maybe in that Washington Wizards protected first-round pick. That's likely what you'd have to give up to get a player like Smart or Bruce Brown on this team. And again, forgive me for saying this, all due respect to both of those players, I am not going to give up key assets to get either of those guys on the Knicks. Because if the Knicks make those moves, it's not like the Knicks get extremely better. It's not like they're locked in to be a championship contender. Because newsflash, if we do nothing and we stay with the exact roster that we have right now, We are still a championship contender, so we do not have to make these other moves. In my opinion, these unnecessary moves. We do not need any more guards. We are good with guards. If you can get me another starting center for Mitchell Robinson, I am all good with that. If you have to include Deuce McBride in that deal, then I'm going to need a starting center that is young, that can develop, and that has a good contract. If I get all of those things, depending on who that center is, I might think about including Deuce. But other than that, I would not want to include him. I would love to trade Mitchell Robinson straight up for another impactful starting center. The only problem is his value is so low, there is no way Mitchell Robinson alone can get you anything halfway decent. That's why the Knicks haven't pulled the trigger on any Mitchell Robinson deal. And they've been looking to deal Robinson as early as July, and they still have not been able to move him. They've even announced reports that they are taking offers for him, and they still can't get something significant on the table because nobody wants to give up something significant for Mitchell Robinson, who might be out till January 2025 or later. And even when he returns, there's a question mark over him. When he returns, could he get injured again? If he does, how long is he out again? If you try to protect him and then you put him into a game and he has an awkward fall and he misses more time, what happens then? What happens to his value then? The Knicks, either way, are taking a chance with either retaining Robinson headed into the regular season, or if they trade him come the trade deadline. We're going to have to wait and see what Leon Rose does. I just hope and pray the move is not for yet another guard. And listen, I understand why the Knicks would be interested in a former champion like Bruce Brown. If he came to this team, not only does he have that champion pedigree, but he has that experience of being in the playoffs. Two things that Tom Thibodeau loves. If you get him on this team, he would likely play him significant minutes because he plays Josh Hart significant minutes. It would be for Tom Thibodeau basically like having two Josh Harts. And in that case, you'd have one Josh Hart start and one Josh Hart come off the bench. And Tom Thibodeau would love that because both of those guys could thrive under Tom Thibodeau because they're everyman. They do all the little things, all the important things that you need somebody to do while they're on the floor with starters. Josh Hart showed you why he complements the starters. He doesn't have to do much, but he does what's needed. Bruce Brown, the exact same player type. He would do the exact same thing. Great supporting cast player. If we had a need for guards, I would want the Knicks to sign him. Even if we had the need for small forwards, I would want the Knicks to sign him. But at 6'4", I don't need another player at 6'4" on this team. If you're going to get me any other player to add to this team, the only other player that makes sense is a starting center. And I'll take that any way I can get it, depending who that player is and what that trade package is. I am never going to include Deuce McBride unless I'm getting a significant piece back. A center that has a significant upside, a great contract, and is young and can still develop. And only two players are on that list for me. That's Walker Kessler and Jalen Duran. And after the reports that we covered the other day about the Knicks making multiple attempts to try to trade for Walker Kessler, I don't think he's a possibility any longer for the Knicks, especially come the trade deadline. Because if Danny Ainge did not want the offer the Knicks had to give him before they traded for Karl Anthony Towns, he is never going to accept an offer from them come the trade deadline. That's just who Danny Ainge is. And you know what? I've made my peace with it. That's why there's not that many players on the list that you would include for a trade with Deuce McBride involved, because Deuce is so special. He is so significant to this team, significant to the bench. New York knows this. They're not going to move him for just anybody. If Deuce is involved, that means we're getting something significant back. So that's something to keep in mind. But right now, everybody is waiting for Leon to make that next move. What that major next move is going to be. In my opinion, it's going to involve Mitchell Robinson, and it's going to involve getting another starting center on this team. But the deal has to make sense, because if it doesn't, the Don, Leon Rose, will not be making that move. Even though he loves this team and wants us to get better and wants to continue to add pieces to this championship run, Leon Rose is not going to make a move to spite us, to hurt us now or hurt our moves in the future. Every single thing he does is to help elevate us and make us a better team. And because of that, he's gained the trust of me and the entirety of New York. Continue doing what you're doing, Leon, because you're cooking, you're making the Knicks better, and in the process, you're helping us achieve something that we've always wanted to achieve for years now. Break the drought and bring a championship home to New York. But what about you guys? What do you think about the following reports indicating that both the Dallas Mavericks and the New York Knicks have contacted the Toronto Raptors about a potential deal for Bruce Brown? Let me know in the comment section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.